Is This a Great Game or What? With my Hall of Famer dad, Tim Kurkjian. I'm his son, Jeff Kurkjian, and we have very exciting news, making another change on the podcast. We recently announced we're going 2 days a week, but I guess my dad and I became so complacent we want more time with you, so we are going 3 days a week. So traditionally, as always, you'll hear us Tuesday mornings, and then on Wednesdays, you will hear our interview. We feel as if those Tuesday episodes, though great, are getting a little long, right? With these interviews we get with some great guests, they're going 45 minutes. We want to split it up for you to make it a little dosable. And tomorrow...
Right, we have Jim Boeheim, Hall of Fame basketball coach, Syracuse. We interviewed him last week. We talked about basketball, of course, but mostly baseball and golf and tennis and Otto the Orange. We had a tremendous time with Coach Boeheim. That will run tomorrow.
Yeah, and we did that in person at Syracuse University, which was so neat. So can't wait for you to hear and see that on our YouTube page at Great Game or What. And then Wednesday, or that's Wednesday, then Thursday will be another episode of Great Game or What to keep you updated with best of all, all the things we do. Ozzy to Oral on those days.
I'm a seam head, yes.
I'm a seam
We've got
head.
a great I'm a seam head this week.
We really
David
do.
Firstman came through. Boy, oh boy.
I love that one. So new changes to the podcast, but nothing that changes for you other than more opportunities to hear from us and to become a part of our family, which we are very appreciative of. Now, today is a very important day in baseball. It is Jackie Robinson Day today.
Right, and Jackie Robinson, let's be clear, is the most important player in baseball history. I think Babe Ruth is second, but it's not a close second because what Jackie Robinson did changed the game, and it helped change the country. The civil rights movement was moved along by, Martin Luther King more than anyone, but Jackie Robinson is in the conversation because he didn't just change baseball, he changed our country and the way we think about things. I'll never forget talking to Frank Robinson about Jackie Robinson, and I said, what kind of impact did he have? And he went on, and he said, what Jackie taught us was the only way to beat the hatred that we heard and felt at that time was to go out there on the field and beat them on the field. That's what Jackie taught us. And Hank Aaron told me, he said, if it weren't for Jackie Robinson, I don't think I would have ever played in the major leagues. Now, it doesn't mean that because Jackie Robinson opened it, it's that Hank Aaron watched this happen and said, well, maybe I can do that someday. He didn't think that. He never thought that until Jackie Robinson came along and broke the color barrier. And also, Jeff, let's not forget what a really good player he was. He wasn't just a trailblazer, okay? He was a great second baseman. He was a great first baseman his first year. And I'm not sure there's ever been a greater athlete to play in the major leagues than Jackie Robinson. When you consider what he did at UCLA as a running back, not good, great. He was a great basketball player, led the Pac-10 in scoring. He was a tremendous golfer, a great tennis player, and of course, a Hall of Fame baseball player. And Dave Anderson, the great columnist from the New York Times, once told me that Jackie Robinson could beat you in more ways than any player in the history of baseball, given how fast he was, hit the ball out of the ballpark, could do so many things defensively. I mean, he's an underrated defensive second baseman. So let's not ever forget the importance of Jackie Robinson on the game and what a great player he was. And Jeff, as you know, the Brooklyn Dodgers traded him to the arch rival New York Giants after 10 years with the Dodgers. And Jackie Robinson retired instead of going to the Giants because the Giants were the hated rivals. And he said, I'm not playing for them. I just spent 10 years hating them. I'm not playing for them. So another time where he stood up for what he thought was right.
Jackie Robinson Day, we have Jerry Harrison Jr., who's going to join us. His grandfather, he's a multi-generational major league family, the Harrisons, and obviously his brother Scott played alongside him during the same years in the MLB. We have his grandfather played in the Negro Leagues, and then if I have this right, was like the seventh black player to play and the first ever Chicago White Sox player.
So Jerry tells us some great Jackie Robinson stories. You need to stick around to hear this.
Yeah, we're going to have him on a little bit later in the show. But, Dad, let's hop right in to the takeaways. We haven't been with our listeners since this past week, so what's going on?
Right. Well, all these are through Sunday because we didn't have time to update. But the Padres are 13-3, Jeff, okay? And during that time, after the 8-0 start, the Dodgers have lost 6 out of 9. Now, this doesn't change anything. The Dodgers are great, nothing to worry about for them. However, the Padres are really good. They've got 6 shutouts already. Michael King on Sunday threw his first career shutout, and they shut out the Rockies 3 consecutive games. So it's happened a bunch of times in Major League history where a team sweeps a 3-game series and shuts them out in every game. But the last time it happened was the Indians in 2017 shut out the Royals 3 games in a row to sweep a series. That's how good the Padres pitching is. And the Padres can really score some runs, so they are a very dangerous team. And speaking of great pitching, Cole Reagans had a great start for the Royals yesterday, Sunday. So he has now had 10 or more strikeouts in 3 consecutive games. The only other Royals pitcher to do that was Kevin Appier, which is really saying something. The Royals have been around for a long time. And Cole Reagans, by the way, Jeff, has a great changeup. And I wrote a story on how important the changeup is in today's game. And Cole Reagans, what he can do is he can throw, like 97 miles an hour, but his changeup is 12 miles an hour slower than his fastball, which is like the optimum level. If you can throw that hard and then, as they say, kill the velocity to take 12 miles an hour off, even though it's still coming in at 85 miles an hour, it looks like it's 45 miles an hour when you've seen 97. Seth Lugo of the Royals told me, I've never seen anybody that can throw a changeup quite like that when he throws his fastball that hard. And then there's Hunter Green of the Reds, who's got a 0.98 ERA.
Oh, my gosh.
I watched his game the other night. It was 10 days ago against the Giants, and I watched the entire game. And I don't know how anyone ever gets a hit off of him. He's got secondary stuff that is filthy, and he throws 100 miles an hour. So there is great pitching everywhere.
It's a bummer that Hunter Green didn't make it onto your St. Patrick's Day team.
Yeah, well, we needed a shortstop.
You had a different Green.
So we had Gary Green. Yep. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
All right. A couple other things. James Wood, of the Nationals, son of my friend Kenny Wood. I'm not just saying this because Kenny Wood is my basketball playing friend, but James Wood has hit 3 home runs in 2 games back-to-back against the Dodgers. And the point here, Jeff, is, he's 6'6", he weighs 240, and his power to the opposite field is remarkable. The balls he hits to left center field, you just watch and go, how can he do that so effortlessly? And it's because he's such a great athlete. So he's got pull power, but he says, I never pull a ball for a home run. Eventually, he's going to learn.
He's going to learn how to do it.
How to pull it, because the power to left center is just breathtaking. And speaking of power, Jung-Ho Lee of the Giants on Sunday hit 2 home runs, 2 3-run homers in the same game against the Yankees, and both of them against Carlos Rodon. So Rodon, left-hander, had never given up 2 home runs in a game to left-handed hitters in his career. And then he gave up 2 to the same left-handed hitter in one game. And this is why the Giants are a handful this year. Trust me, that NL West is ridiculously good, because the Giants can really pitch. And with Jung-Ho Lee, who basically missed almost all of last year, when he's back and now they got Willie Adames at shortstop, the Giants have a pretty good team. And last takeaway is, and this is important, Jeff, so Shohei Ohtani's streak of 29 consecutive games reaching base ended. And that's a pretty impressive, almost 30 straight games reaching base, until you realize that the Major League record, take a guess. What do you think the Major League record is for consecutive games reaching base? So Joe
DiMaggio, 56.
56 straight games
I know
with
that.
a hit. Right.
So it has to be more than 56,
of
clearly.
Course. Nobody's going to get a hit in 56 straight games. Not while I'm alive, and maybe not while you're alive. That's how hard that is to do.
I'm gonna guess high as to not. I hate when people do this. You ever tell someone, hey, I got this for really cheap. Guess how much? And they're like $5. You're like, no, it was only $12, but now you were just being annoying. So I'm gonna say 56 is the hit streak, so it has to be at least. I'm gonna say 100.
All right, 84 games in a
Okay,
row.
all right.
That's pretty good.
That is extremely impressive.
Ted Williams reached base in 84 consecutive games. So as much as we talk about, and I'm hopeless about this, Jeff, like how great hitters are today, come on, Ted Williams, go look at those numbers sometimes. They're absolutely ridiculous.
You want to go to a couple more listener questions?
Sure.
So, Dad, we do Team Tim every single week. You come up with a team based upon something. We already referenced your St. Patty's Day team. I have a couple here. So Eric Moyer was listening to our show on April 4th, the 4-4 show.
Right.
And he said, I love the obsession, Tim's obsession with 4-4. So he came up with a team of players to wear 44.
Oh, good.
Are you ready?
Hank Aaron is, of course, the right fielder.
Let me
right?
make sure.
Well, Jeff, we're not continuing this discussion if we don't have Hank Aaron number 44.
He has Hank Aaron in the outfield. First one listed. Sorry, long list. Let me go through it.
Okay.
Mike Napoli is catching.
Right.
Willie McCovey is at first.
Okay.
Jay Bell is at second.
Wow, that wasn't Jay Bell's primary number, but I'll give you that.
He did say there was a couple stretches he had to make. He has Ellie De La Cruz at third base.
I'm okay with that. We have to move guys around.
Orlando Cabrera is a shortstop on this team.
Right.
Hank Aaron, Eric Davis, Reggie Jackson are the three outfielders. He notes that he is a huge Reds fan, so he wanted to start with Reds. Right. Starting pitchers, Roy Oswalt.
Right.
Jake Peavy.
Right.
David Cohn.
Right.
Ken Hill.
Right.
Jesus Luzardo. And Jason Isringhausen as the closer.
Boy, that's pretty darn good.
And then he even has a bench. Paul Goldschmidt, Adam Dunn, Yordan Alvarez, and Julio Rodriguez bench/DH for all those guys.
How about that? Yordan Alvarez doesn't even make the starting lineup.
Right. It's a pretty good team, right?
Pretty good team. We've done this before, Jeff, in our Ozzy to Oral. We look at the best players at each number, 1 through 55. And Hank Aaron is the obvious choice at 44. But then when you look at some of the other guys who wear these numbers, it's kind of fun.
Yeah. And Jeremy Hespin, remind me if I'm wrong here. Have we ever done the all-fish team? Did we do the all-fish team?
I think we have. I mean, Mike Trout, Tim Salmon. I think we have. I think I have. What does he got?
We'll give him. He started with the outfield. Tim Salmon, Mike Trout, Kevin Bass.
Of course. Yeah, we've done this. But
first base, Gil Hodges, Al Codd Myers at second, Bob Fisher's the shortstop, George Scales is the third baseman.
Like it.
Catfish Hunter, obviously.
Right.
Jack Morris. He put it in all caps where the fish is in it. Rod Beck, as in like a fishing rod.
Right.
Robbie Ray, type of fish. AJ Pollock is our DH, and the manager is Lip Pike. Love the podcast, guys.
Okay.
Jeremy, that was great.
Look, we have corrupted an entire country here with what we do, but it's fun and it's harmless and it's only happens in baseball.
As if our wives couldn't put up with us as much. Imagine Jeremy being like, honey, hold on. I'm putting together an all-fish team for Tim and Jeff Kurkjian.
Right.
We're ruining marriages across the country, Dad.
Yes, I'm well aware of that. So I don't want to ruin yours with 3 days a week. We got to make sure Emily Kurkjian's on board here.
Don't worry, and we got to make sure your wife doesn't find out that we are going to 3 days a week.
Right. All right. Now, speaking of family, Jeff, Carson Kelly did it again. So we've made clear through this podcast that Carson Kelly is not my favorite player, but it is my favorite baseball name because my firstborn child is Kelly Kurkjian. My firstborn grandchild is Carson Keenahan. So Carson Kelly really worked. So a couple nights ago, Carson Kelly, hitting ninth for the Cubs, had a 3-for-3, 2-homer game out of the ninth spot. So remember, the same Carson Kelly who hit for the cycle out of the 9 spot, the first player ever to do that in the month of March. So he's already done 2 things. So I checked with Frank at the Elias. So he's the first number 9 hitter ever to have a 2-homer game and hit for the cycle out of the 9 spot. And not just in one season or not like prior to May, like in his career. So he's the only player in the history of baseball in his career to have a 2-homer game and a cycle out of the 9 spot. Now, again, Jeff, the 9 spot for years and years and years included the pitcher. So it's a bit specious here.
Or included a guy who was just the quick guy who's not the leadoff guy.
Right.
So he's not hitting a lot of dingers.
So the point is, anytime we can get Carson Kelly into the podcast, we're going to do that.
You know, I'm so tempted to buy a Chicago Cubs jersey for my nephew Carson that has Kelly on the back. Also noting, he was born in Chicago. Kelly and Mark lived in Chicago when Carson was born. So not only is Carson he plays for the Cubs. For goodness sake. Sorry, I kind of went Jerry Seinfeld on there. Yeah. I lost my voice at the bachelor party over the weekend. He plays for the Cubs.
We're rooting for laundry.
Kramer!
Right. Okay, so Zach Veen of the Rockies struck out 4 times out of the leadoff spot. So we're just building on this from last week. That's the 6th time this year that a leadoff hitter has struck out 4 times in a game. 6 times. Wow. And we're not even close to May. So it happened 7 times before the month of May last year. It's the only time that's ever happened. So we might have 10 leadoff guys strike out 4 or more times in a game before we even get to the month of May. Just saying again how prevalent the strikeout is in today's game, in part because the stuff we see is ridiculous. And your boy Nick Castellanos had an 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts. So that's the 4th time this year already that a guy's had an 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts. It happened in 2023 5 times before the month of May. It's a pretty good bet that we're going to have at least 5 and maybe 6 guys who go 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts in a game before we even get to the month of May.
Which is crazy, too, because we talk about how difficult the game is. Castellanos is having a really good start to the season.
Jeff, it doesn't matter
how
good you are. If certain nights you just can't, the game just beats you because it is so difficult. And never forget, Bill Buckner and Mike Scioscia, 2 really good major leaguers, never struck out 3 times in a game. And already 4 different players have struck out 5 times in a game.
Unbelievable.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Also, Mike Scioscia, former guest on our show.
Yes.
Bill Buckner came up during our interview with Tom House. If you missed it, Tom House is the one who caught home run 715 that was hit by Hank Aaron to break Babe Ruth's record. And Bill Buckner was playing left field at the time.
And Bill Buckner's first thing he asked Tom House was, "Can I have the ball?
Throw me the ball.
Why would I do that?" I was amused by that. Okay, Kaiden Paris hit a home run the other day, and on the same day, Ty France hit a home run. Kaiden Paris for the Angels, Ty France for the Twins. So on the same day, Paris and France hit a home run. You can't miss something like that.
Yeah, you were just dying for them to both be starting pitchers,
Of course. Ellie De La Cruz hit a grand slam for the Reds on Ellie De La Cruz bobblehead day, which is just so appropriate and so fitting. Now, I can't even remember the teams, but it doesn't matter. But in the 80s, I remember a game, doesn't matter where it happened. It was Umbrella Day at the ballpark. Everyone got like an umbrella. Let's call it a Cubs umbrella. And the game got rained out on Umbrella Day.
So great.
That is so bad.
That is so perfect.
It's so perfect. So the other night, the A's, all 9 starters for the A's got exactly 1 hit. So believe it or not, it happened like 3 times last year. I was a little surprised. All 9 starters got exactly 1 hit. But the last time that the A's did that in a game was 1977.
Wow.
That's a long time.
That's almost 50 years. Jeez.
All right, the last question relates to the bachelor's party. And this is the biggest stretch of any Kurkjian ever, but we're going to attempt to have a little fun with this. So quickly tell us about the bachelor party. Saturday, where were you? Who was it for? Yeah. And how did it go?
My buddy Joey, he gets married in May to his amazing fiancee Jess, he outkicked the coverage on that one.
We all did, Jeff.
Yeah, we all did.
Joey is close to the captain of the all-overachiever team, from what I can see.
Joey loves...
Although you're on the list, believe me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. He is a big Baltimore Orioles fan, so we went to the Orioles game against the Blue Jays, which was so much fun. We had seats right down the third base side. It was a great time. Not a huge crowd because it's kind of rainy and a little overcast, but Dad, have you ever had an orange crush?
Yes, it was a long time ago. And it's non-alcoholic. I hope that's the one you're talking
No,
about.
I'm not talking about that.
Oh, well, of course you wouldn't.
Yeah,
Right?
this drink they served at Pickles outside of Camden Yards, which was
Right.
packed and amazing. And all the years I went to Camden Yards, you never took me to Pickles, Dad. But that's also because I wasn't 21. But, yeah, I mean, this is like, it's the staple drink to have at Camden Yards before you go into a game. It's an orange drink. It's got vodka in it. Whoa, God, it was huge. It was big. And Dad, I'm not kidding you. I drank half of one in about an hour because I'm a small guy. I look over at Joey. Joey is 6'5", former great basketball player, great football player, and he has about the same left in his cup. I mean, these are big cups. So I go to him and I say, Joe, it's pretty strong, right? He goes, yeah, 1.5 in and we haven't even walked into the game. He was on his second and he was at the same spot on the drink that I was. So I guess we'll have to take off that credential of yours one day and have you go try an Orange Crush.
Jeff, this is pathetic, but when I covered the Orioles in the 80s, they set a record for most home runs hit in the month of May, even though the team wasn't very good. Major league record. So I called them Orange Crush because they were dressed in orange and they used to crush it. So I called them the Orange Crush Orioles for about a month and then the rest of the time.
That's pretty good.
But Jeff, speaking of drinking, and again, this is the biggest stretch of all time, I'm going to give you the names of some of the pitchers of record from Saturday's game when you went to Camden Yards for a bachelor's party. Okay. JT Ginn pitched, but it's spelled Gin.
Gin. Love
right.
it.
So Cole Sulser also got a decision. So I really stretched that, like Sulser and vodka. Is there such a thing as vodka with Sulser? Seltzer.
Yeah.
Is
like
there
a
such
White Claw. Yeah.
White Claw,
Vodka
right.
seltzer,
All right.
sure.
Ryan Gusto got a decision.
Yeah.
Chase Dolander got a decision. Chase.
Chaser. Yeah, I was thinking
Okay.
Dolander,
Right.
Dolan.
Kumar Rocker got a decision. And that's what you got. You guys were rocking it. Is that what you young people play? Yeah, he was rocking really cool sweatshirt. I've never used that as a verb in my entire life. And the last guy who got a decision on the day that you celebrated Joey's bachelor party, Brian, woo!
Lot of that. Woo!
Jeff, I'm really worried about myself now that I would take the time to come. It just hit me. Look, we got a gin, we got a gusto, we got a woo, all the same day, the day that you were celebrating Joey Firestein's engagement.
It's amazing that you would look at all those pictures of record where I think 95% of the guys I was with don't even remember who pitched in the game we were at.
Of course, but you're not supposed to remember that. Well, I'm glad you got to go to a big league game.
It was a fun time. Do you have on this date in baseball history?
Yeah. Now, of course, the reason we're here today is the only thing that truly matters today is that in 1947, Jackie Robinson made his major league debut playing first base for the Brooklyn Dodgers. And as we said earlier, and we'll hear from Jerry Harrison in a minute, changed the game completely and helped change our country. But I found it interesting that also on April 15th, this was in 1954, Hank Aaron, who we told you, said I would have never played in the big leagues without Jackie Robinson. Hank Aaron got his first major league hit, which...
on what would become Jackie Robinson Day.
Right, so 7 years to the day that Jackie Robinson made his major league debut and broke the color line, Hank Aaron, one of the greatest players of all time, got his first major league hit. Is that not cool or what?
I mean, it's hard to not be romantic about baseball when it comes to that kind of stuff.
And just a general reminder, Jeff, if you took away all 755 of Hank Aaron's home runs, he would still have 3,000 hits.
Unbelievable.
3,771 hits. So it just shows you how great a player Hank Aaron was. But in the end, there was no greater player in baseball history, given all the elements, than Jackie Robinson.
Jerry Harrison Jr. joined us last year for Jackie Robinson Day, and as I mentioned at the top, his grandfather played in the Negro Leagues and then became a major leaguer. His dad, a major leaguer. Him and his brother, major leaguers. So, I mean, it's a family full of big leaguers, but he talked so eloquently and beautifully about black baseball and about being a black baseball player, following the footsteps of Jackie Robinson, his entire family. Here's Jerry Harrison Jr.
It was the impact on our country. And we always talk about black baseball, the Negro Leagues, but this is American history. Jackie Robinson, when he made his Brooklyn Dodgers debut, Martin Luther King really stated back then, and that kind of sparked the civil rights movement. They had a guy in Jackie Robinson who was very articulate, extremely smart. He had accomplished so much prior, leading up to his major league debut. Obviously, he served in our military, played at UCLA. I believe he starred in 4 different sports at UCLA. So he was really accomplished. So they had the perfect guy to represent the black baseball players and to break the color barrier. Yes, were there better players? And even Jackie Robinson admitted back then there were better players than him. But he was probably the best guy for the job to break through. And obviously, he thrived on the baseball field while kind of holding his tongue when he had to. And it allowed for other people of color to play eventually. So Martin Luther King said it best. Jackie Robinson, seeing Jackie Robinson on that baseball field thrive allowed, it really kind of sparked the civil rights movement.
Right. Jerry, your grandfather, Sam, what did he tell you about Jackie Robinson when you were growing up?
As a kid, we all knew about Jackie Robinson, the player. The one thing my grandfather always stressed was look at Jackie Robinson, the person, what he represented. It was not just on the field, but off the field. You got to be a good person. That's one thing my grandfather and my father stressed. Listen, it'd be cool to be a baseball player. Of course, you want to play baseball. But the most important thing is to be a good man. Be a good representative of your family. And obviously, Jackie Robinson did that. And he represented so many others. And because he was successful on and off the field, it allowed for so many other players to come behind him. So, having Jackie Robinson Day and having his number retired. And I remember Ken Griffey Jr., stating we should all wear 42 on that day. Just giving a little tribute to him for a man who meant so much for so many people.
And Jerry, you just brought that up. All the players going to be rocking 42, and you had a great major league career. But, you're a broadcaster for the Dodgers now, but you played for the Dodgers. Was it kind of like sending chills up your spine when you put the 42 jersey Dodgers on the front and 42 on the back? Was that kind of cool?
Absolutely. And I got a chance to play second base one day. I think it was either 12 or 13 when I was wearing that Dodger blue, wearing 42 and playing second base. And trust me, guys, it was not lost on me. I was thinking about my grandfather and just knowing the players that sacrificed so much. The one thing my grandfather, who was the 9th black player to play in Major League Baseball, was the first black player to play with the Chicago White Sox. It wasn't lost on me on how these guys really had to kind of struggle a little bit and grind. They had to play in so many barnstorming games. They had to go play in Mexico, in Cuba, Venezuela, other countries to kind of make sure they provide for their family. So, my grandfather and other players had to do that. And they definitely had it a whole lot tougher than we did. And we're so appreciative for the stuff they did because they laid the groundwork for many players that would follow.
Jerry Harrison Jr., always a consummate professional, of course, part of the broadcast team with the Los Angeles Dodgers. And his perspective, I think it's so neat that players would ask him about experiences his family had and Jackie Robinson, and it's really, really beautiful.
Yeah, and remember, the best part of that interview is when he said he wore number 42, as everybody does now on Jackie Robinson Day, which is a great, great idea by Major League Baseball. But Jerry Hairston is playing second base for the Dodgers wearing number 42. And he said, as you heard, he said, that was not lost on me.
Don't forget that tomorrow, so things are changing up here on the podcast. Tomorrow, you'll get an interview from Coach Jim Boeheim, longtime Syracuse Orange coach, who is a massive baseball fan. Things to be listening for. He talks about Michael Jordan playing golf and not playing golf very well. Talks about Kobe Bryant. Sent chills down my spine talking about Kobe.
Me too.
And, of course, we went a lot into the game of baseball, his love of the New York Yankees currently, but a team you wouldn't expect that he loved growing up. Coach Jim Boeheim joins the show tomorrow. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, thank you for being a part of our family.